Guys, I am Pranita Reddy from Informatica Global Customer Support. Today in this video, we will learn how to enable or disable schedules in IICS using REST API. The agenda of this video would be Introduction to Schedules, how to enable or disable schedules using REST API, a small demo on the same, and summary. So in introduction, we know why schedules are used. Schedules are basically created to run tasks in a specific time or a specific time interval without any manual intervention. If we create schedules, there is no need for the user to manually log into IICS and trigger tasks. Once a schedule is created and given a particular time, the jobs will run at that given particular time. And if you create a schedule, the jobs will only run once it is enabled. By default, all the schedules that are created in IICS will be enabled. But for example, you have a schedule created and it is already enabled, but now for the next 2 days, you don't want that task to run. But you don't want to delete the schedule also, because manually, if you delete the schedule, you have to recreate the schedule for the task to run later, that is after 2 days. So for this, what you can do is you can disable the schedule for meanwhile, so that the tasks do not run in that time frame until it is disabled. We can use schedule resource to do many activities in and around schedule. You can get the schedule details using a get call. You can create a schedule using a post call. You can update schedule details using a patch call, and you can also delete a schedule in IICS using a delete call. For now, in this video, we will concentrate on updating the schedule, that is enabling or disabling the schedule using a patch call. We'll quickly see the flow. To update the schedule, firstly you will have to log into IICS using a post call where you will have to provide username and password, and then once you get a session ID from the login call, take that session ID and in the next call get the details of the schedule. Here you can get the details of all the schedules in IICS or one particular schedule that you want to edit. And after that, from the schedule details, you can get the FRS ID, which should be later be used to update the schedule. To update the schedule, here in this video would be enabling or disabling the schedule, and this would require a patch call. We will quickly run into a demo to see this. Firstly, what we will do is we'll log into IICS. Once we log into IICS, we will just have to open a schedule. For example, I am taking this schedule, that is API schedule. Okay, this API schedule runs for every n minutes. Okay, now I'll just go to data integration and take one particular task, which probably I will have to create a mapping task on top of it for it to run on the schedule. So I will just create one MCT on top of this mapping. Okay, and we will name it MCT testing API. Here just select that particular runtime environment and click on next. Once you go here it will ask you for the schedule option. Just click on schedule, click on run on a schedule and select your particular schedule, and my schedule here would be API schedule. Okay, after this just save it. Okay, it is now saved. We will have to go to monitor and check if there is any first run. First check for this one, it runs every n minutes. That means for every, this is like too far, 30 minutes. So what I will do is I'll just edit it to make it 5 minutes. Okay, this is now saved. We will have to see if there is any first instance of the task that got. I'll just open monitor. We'll just have to wait for that task to trigger the first time. If you see, the task is triggered for the first time. Okay, I can remove all these location. Okay, it got triggered. Okay, it is include whatever it is it is in queued, it fails later, whatever it is, but now it is triggered using schedule. So what we will do is we'll go back to Postman to see the status of the schedule. The status of the schedule should now be enabled because the task is now running. We'll just log into this. Yeah, just do a login call. That is, in the body you will have to provide your username and password and then hit on send. When you hit on send, you would get a session ID. Just take the session ID and go to the next call. In order to update the schedule, that is to enable or disable the schedule, you will need an FRS ID of the schedule. To get the FRS ID, you have two ways. One way, either log into IICS and get the ID from the address bar here. Or second one is you can just do a get schedule call, which will give you the details of all the schedules that are available in that org. And from here, you can just check for that. This API schedule is my schedule and this is the ID. Okay, this is the ID. Go there, give the ID here, give the session ID and just hit on send. If you see, the interval is minutely. It runs for every 5 minutes and the status is enabled. The name is also correct. Name API schedule. Okay, that means now it is enabled, so the task is running. Now what you can do is, if you want to update the schedule, first thing I want is, in updating, just it should be a patch call. Give the base URL / public core v3 schedule, and here in the schedule, this should be the FRS ID of the schedule that you can either take it from the UI or from the previous calls. Just take this, and in the body you need to provide a ID, again the same ID, and there is one more thing called schedule federated ID, and for schedule federated ID you will have to get it from the REST API only. There is no other option for now. You'll get this schedule federated ID in the get call of schedule. Just get that ID and paste it here. Status, now what I want to do, I want to disable it, so I will make it disabled. Because I'm updating this, update version 3 testing. The description should also change just for us to know that there is some update in the schedule. So I'm just doing this, okay? In the headers, you have to change the session ID and hit on send. Once you hit on send, you got a 200 OK response. So you can go back to the monitor page to wait for the next run of the API. Now this was triggered at 3:25. That means now the time is 3:28. It's already 3 minutes of triggering, but we have to still wait for 2 more minutes to see if the next instance of the mapping task gets triggered or not. Ideally, it should not get triggered because we have already changed it here. To check if it is already changed correctly or not, first thing you can verify it is in the response of the same patch call. You can see the status as disabled. But in order to have more clarity, what you can do is just go to this particular schedule details call, do a hit, and here you can see now the status is disabled. That means the next instance of the mapping task will not be triggered. The schedule is now disabled. If you want to validate the same from the UI, currently we don't have any option as such where you can validate it on the UI. The only thing to check if the schedule is enabled or disabled is from the API. See, if you check on the UI, now here also it is updated, description is updated, but you will not, anywhere you will not be able to see the status that is enabled or disabled. Now to check if the next instance is triggered or not, we'll have to wait for 1 more minute. Okay, 1 more minute. Ours is MCT testing. Okay, if you see the started by also, you can see it as the schedule name only. The username will not be printed here because this task is triggered by the schedule. So currently it's 3:30, that means 5 minutes where this should have been triggered but still is not triggered. That Means the API is working absolutely fine and the schedule is now disabled. You can once verify it, like I told once again, from the postman call, that is the get details call. You can still see this as disabled. Okay, and in the summary, we will provide you with the reference KB article and the documentation which has clear steps on how to enable or disable schedules in CDI. And if you like this video or if you have any feedback, please reach us on supportvideos@informatica.com or please tweet us as at infasupport. Thank you.